Good evening, welcome back to another video. It's Stephen here on Monday the 3rd of March, 2 days after City beat Plymouth 3-1 to get to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. Bournemouth away as well. United are out. It should be fun. We should be, hopefully, reaching another final. No guarantee. Bournemouth away is a genuinely difficult game of football. Of course, they beat us this season as well, 2-1. Last time we played them, it was a very different Manchester City side back then. It truly was. That was the beginning of the collapse, so to speak. Both teams have come on a long way. They're better. We're a little bit better than them as well. But it's going to be a very fascinating game. But I want to talk about how we got there. And I know this video is sort of delayed. I am still sort of in a crazy household. I didn't have the time to do it yesterday. And this still is a massive chance to talk about what we learned from that game and certain plays and certain individuals and certain narratives which I think are very much worth discussing in a little bit more detail. One player in particular I cannot wait to talk about. The clue is in the thumbnail, if I'm being honest with you, the title. But I really can't wait to talk about Vitor Reis. I think he's absolutely exceptional, and I can't believe right now where I'm at with our signings. I'm really, really encouraged. I really, truly am. If you are new to the channel, please do me a massive favour. Give the video a like. Help support a lifelong City fan. It does mean the world to me, you know. One day, hopefully, I'll get to 100,000 subscribers. It'd be ace. Slowly getting there. I'm currently hunting down 73,000, so if we can get there, that would be great. Give the video a like, help support a fellow Blue, and subscribe for all your Manchester City content and views and all that kind of stuff. So I'll go start with the first point that I want to talk about, and it's not about Vitor Reis, but it is about another very exciting footballer. This man, Nico O'Reilly, he is a complete talent. What I mean by that is this boy can do pretty much anything and should be in the Manchester City first team. Now, I'm not saying he's a genius or anything like that, but when I look at the tick boxes and what you want from a footballer in 2025, well, this guy has them all. He is a complete talent, and this is why he should be at Manchester City Football Club past the summer of 2025 as well. I think City would be crazy to let him go. Now, it's always worth talking about the backstory of Nico O'Reilly before you address his current ability and potential and all that kind of stuff. He is an attacking midfielder, stroke false 9, stroke number 10. So this current role that he's playing is very much alien to him. He wasn't even a number 6 where Guardiola put him in the summer, and he absolutely definitely was not a left back. But what that does show you is he played as a number 6 in the summer and did really well there. He's played as a number 10 for the academy sides and did really well there. And he's playing currently as a left back for the first team and doing pretty damn well there, if I don't say so myself. And I am very much excited by his potential development. I think the value of Nico O'Reilly comes in many forms. If you look at where football is going, football is trending towards the physical. It really is. It's trending towards big people who can run. And this is a sort of reaction to Guardiola football. Guardiola's football has sort of created the antidote. And the only way we can beat the antidote is by using some of that antidote ourselves. In reaction to the possession-based systems Guardiola put, people got stronger, faster, and quicker and bigger. And Nico O'Reilly would be the kind of guy who causes trouble the other way around. And this is where I think Nico O'Reilly comes into value as well. The second thing is also that he's a club-trained, a homegrown player, and we need some of them. But back to the first point. Nico O'Reilly is very much a complete player. What I love about Nico O'Reilly is he's not only technically very, very good, and he clearly has. He has a wonderful left foot. I've seen this kid score a whole bunch of brilliant goals for City under-18s in the academy sides. Some actually truly magical, like brilliantly technically gifted goals, like a scorpion kick, a long-range shot from the halfway line. He scores wonderful goals. You can already tell that he's got a sort of an eye for goal anyway, you know. A brace, which we'll get onto in a minute. But he scored in the previous round too. The guy can score, basically. And it's one of those things where... well, someone just said in the chat then in the interview, said he played a centre-back as a kid but moved to midfield. Well, he's played everywhere then, essentially. So you got a guy who's got an eye for goal. He was 6'4", he was club-trained, he's left-footed. He's also strong and athletic. It's one of those things where what more could you possibly want from a young player to be? He's versatile. He's massive. He's quick. He has an eye for goal. And he's technically good and clearly can learn many positions at once. We would be absolutely stupid to let Nico O'Reilly leave Manchester City Football Club because he's going to the top. He clearly is going to make it. It requires luck, obviously. He's not going to definitely get there, but it's a very good chance. And as Jay pointed out in the chat as well, he's only 19 years old. Possibly a City fan, I don't know, but he's from Manchester. So, it's always a pleasure to hear that accent, when you hear one of your own talking, you recognise a Manchester accent. So, yeah, look, Nico O'Reilly, look, City, keep him. Keep him. Do not let him go in the summer because it'd be very, 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 very stupid. And don't do stupid things, City. We've seen it with Delat. We've seen it with Palmer and Lavia. And we've seen it with Morgan Rogers. Don't be stupid. Don't let another one go. Thank you so much to Harrison, by the way. Harrison, you're a superstar. Thank you so much for joining. It's not showing up on screen. I'll just do some quick. There we go. I can see it on screen now. There you go. Harrison, thank you very much for becoming a member. It's really, really appreciated. It keeps the channel going. You're a big legend, Harrison. So Nico O'Reilly, yeah, absolutely. Love him loads. I think he should be at Manchester City past this summer, and we'd be very silly to let him go. Give a like for Nico O'Reilly. It'd be massively appreciated. This is the main thing I want to talk about in this video. I can't stop watching clips of Vitor Reis against Plymouth. That sounds crazy to say. I'm a 39-year-old man. Maybe because I'm overtired right now. But I've watched this compilation like 4 or 5 times. And the more I watch it, the better he gets. I am very excited by this footballer. And I think it's because he's taking me by surprise a little bit. Now, I actually did a few very giddy tweets about Vitor Reis when he was joining. And I felt, this guy could be really special. And I truly believe that. But then I watched him against Leyton Orient. And as good as he was fine that day. He didn't make any mistakes. He also looked young. And I felt it was one of those things where he looked a little bit slender. He was beat for pace at one point where I was like, okay, he looks good, man. He looks good. But I felt he was a bit further away than I thought. Against Plymouth, I couldn't get over how good he looked. And it's not because he's the complete package. But this guy is a natural talent, and it was these actions here that really impressed me. This guy is physically dominant in the air, and you've got a chance immediately if you can be that good physically. He's only relatively slender, but you can already see that his build, despite being slender, there are shoulders there on him, and his other photos that I've seen where he looks a little bit broader. I'll try and find it right now, but you can tell very much that he's going to have no problems physically. Here we go. It's this one here. Let me get rid of this. But you can tell he's going to have no problems physically because he's a big guy already. I mean, he's broad enough. Look at that. He's broad. He's just slender. That will change. He will grow into his physicality. Someone said he looks a little bit like Varane, actually. And I can see that in terms of how he holds himself physically. But there's his stats. 109 touches, 94% pass accuracy, the most passes, 11 duels won, the most, 9 clearances, 8 passes into the final third, 2 shots, 2 recoveries. And I think it was like 9 out of 11 headers won or something like that. 100% tackle success. Yeah, look, he looked so promising. And physically, he will grow into his shape. He'll get wider, a little bit stronger because he's got the shoulders there already. That's all that matters for me. He's 6'2". He's got an incredible vertical leap. Like, he just jumps straight up in the air and hangs there, man. Like, as Frank said in the chat, a bit of an NBA kind of style leap. And yeah, that to me got me very excited because then you look at the way he passed the ball. Insanely composed, reads the game really nicely, has an aggressive, dominant leap, very technically composed. He already talks like a leader as well. It really was like watching a 19-year-old John Stones. It's incredibly reassuring, especially when you add the fact that we've got Kusanov as well. Like, to me, one thing that struck me, about all these players, they've all got such strong personalities, man. Like Kusanov, Vitor Reis, Marmoush, Nico, Gonzalez. Look, don't know if they'll ultimately be good enough, but one thing I do know is their mentality is absolutely right, and that is half the battle with with focus and so on. And Vitor Reis looks like another one where someone just said, will we loan out Reis? No chance, mate, absolutely no chance. He'll be playing many games next season. Do not be surprised if you see Reis make his first start in the Premier League at some point this year, because he's only got Ruben Diaz and Kusanov available. Diaz can't play every game, Ake's out injured, Stones is out injured, Akanji's out injured. He's going to play, and he's really good and very talented, and I think he's better than we realise. He looks a bit bigger than I realised. He's a better leap, physically strong. I'm very excited for him, man. Like, truly, I think we could have got a potential world-class player here. And same with Kusanov. Like, the eye for centre-backs for Viana is immense. So I am very, very excited for him. There's something about him, man. Sometimes you can just... you can just feel it with a footballer. And Kusanov and Vitor Reis, they have that sort of, the only way to think of is aura. They just do. They have a confidence and a conviction to the game that belies their youthful experience. 19 years old, Vitor Reis. Kusanov just turned 21 the other day. And they both just look like they belong. And it's only one game against Plymouth, but Plymouth are a championship side, you know, and they're a physical side, and it's not like an incredibly low level, you know. They're still a championship side. They're still, you know, a professional side who play against good teams all the time. And he strolled it. And it's usually actually the wily championship sides that give these young lads a tough time because their experience and so on. But he was absolutely fine in his element. So I was very impressed with him. I think we've landed another gem there. Fair play. Third thing is De Bruyne. De Bruyne, I thought, had a pretty reasonably average first half, but I thought the second half he showed that the quality is very much there. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the quality or confidence or conviction, so to speak, came alive after the assist, you know, the first assist. Yeah. De Bruyne absolutely has a role to play still because the second half in particular, he was creating chances left, right and centre. The crossing weight came back again. He scored a goal, of course. He nearly scored a wonderful long-range strike from the sort of first time corner thing where he whipped it towards the goal. And there are some rumours that, you know, he's tempted by the idea of staying again, but City will offer him a reduced wage because he wants to play in the World Cup again. And he feels like his best chance to play in the World Cup for Belgium is to play for Manchester City still. And there's probably a lot of logic to that. Like, if he goes to Saudi Arabia or he goes to the MLS, there's a very good chance, you know, his level dips a little bit and he's not involved in the World Cup. You'd be mad not to take him anyway if you're Belgium, but I understand that. It depends if you'll take a pay cut or not. There were some rumours that City will offer him 150k a week, which is mad, by the way, because that would be like 40% or 35% or something like that of what he was on previously. I'd be amazed if he takes that because that's a big cut. Like, he's on about 400 grand a week currently. To go down to 150k is probably fair in terms of his squad status, but it just feels like too much. Like less than 50% that he's on. I don't know about that. I don't know if that's true or not. It's a big hit to your pride there. You know, it's almost like, not insulting, but it's a bit too much, if that makes sense. I would argue it's a bit like, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot of money to lose, and it must sting a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's 200 plus still, but which is still an awful lot of money. But he's Kevin De Bruyne, man. He's Kevin De Bruyne, and I think he has got a role to play. I think the best years of KDB are absolutely behind him. I think we all know that, and I've been a bit disappointed by his, you know, some of his football recently. But the signs were still there of his talent, and I love Kev absolutely unequivocally, and he knows he's not stupid. He knows that he's on his way down and so on. But if Guardiola wants him next season in the extended squad that we're planning, I'm more than happy for it because I think he showed, once again, it's just Plymouth, but the quality of the weight of the crossing was still very much there. And if he wants to play 20, 30 games next season, you know, 10, 15 starts, maybe more than that, I don't know. But a lot of substitute appearances. Kev, signed the thing, man. Absolutely. Sounded a bit Rio Ferdinand then, didn't I? Signed the thing. Signed the contract. I'll stop pretending I'm someone I'm not. The thing that struck me as well was that this game showed there's a clear changing of the guard at Man City. You know what that means? A changing of the guard is where, you know, it's sort of like everything changes and like new people take over. I think it's very obvious when you look at Manchester City's lineup the other day and who was on the pitch and who was on the pitch that we've seen a massive shift officially between the first team and the backups and who they are and all that kind of stuff. I think it's very obvious right now that Guardiola sees his strongest team as something very different. I'll bring up the team again. Here was the team that started. Ortega, Rico Lewis, Vitor Reis, Ake, O'Reilly, Gundogan, McAtee, Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, Grealish, Foden. It seems wild to say this, but a lot of them are treble winners, and I'm pretty certain most of them now are just backups. Like that midfield of Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, McAtee, Grealish, De Bruyne, they're all backups now. And that sounds crazy, but I truly believe it. Look at the guys on the bench. Diaz, Haaland, Nico, Ederson, Josko, Savinho, Nunes, Doku, and Omar Mamouche. And of course, you've got Bob, Stones, Kanji, Rodrigo, etc. out. But I really think we've seen a changing of the guard officially. I think if there was any doubt if it's clicked or not, I think it has. I think Guardiola very much sees these guys, the senior guys, officially now as the backup players, which is crazy. I think the likes of, Kusanov, Marmouche, Nico Gonzalez, Savinho, Doku, they've taken over. I think De Bruyne, Gundogan, Bernardo, I think they've sort of been usurped. Kovacic is ahead of, some of those guys as well. I mean, Nunes is very much, in Guardiola's thought, still as a right-back option there, potentially. And obviously, Ederson's the number one keeper. But I mean, it's very obvious that Guardiola is ushering in the new era right now. And to me, there's been a clear change prompted by this man on screen right now, prompted by Marmoush, prompted by Nico Gonzalez, prompted by Savinho. And it's been a generational shift. That's the best way to put it, yeah. And I think it's quite exciting because can you imagine Man City rotating players to play Plymouth, and your rotations are Gundogan, De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and Grealish. It feels crazy to say they're the guys brought in to get us through the games while the other players rest. The other guys are young, but that is the reality, and I really like it. I really like it because I think Guardiola is making very, very obvious and very clear that we have moved on from some of these players in all but name, and it's not fully, they're still there, but the next shift is happening, and I'm at peace with that. I am, and I'm quite excited to see where it takes us as well, because I think it's long overdue, but I think right now it's necessary, and I'm quite enjoying it. I'm enjoying the fact that these guys that you think would start are no longer they're not necessary to the same extent, and we can move on a little bit because this guy's brilliant. Vitor Reis is brilliant. Marmoush, Nico Gonzalez look like really good players too. Savino's been cracking. We've signed some good players. The last 5 players we've signed, I would argue, look pretty damn exciting. I'm convinced of the personality of all of them. This season we've signed, obviously Gundogan, I'll ignore that, but we've signed Kusanov, Marmoush, Vitor Reis, Savinho, and Nico Gonzalez. We don't know how far they'll all go, but to me, they all have quality, very obvious, and they all have the right mental ability, the personality. And Doku the year before, his personality is good too. It's strong. I think we're changing, and I think we saw it very visibly with that selection. And finally, I think the winning the FA Cup this season would be huge. I think we'd learn that this season in particular, it'd be massive for Manchester City Football Club. This is very much my take on things and my opinion, but I think it would be. I think the potential strength and conviction we take for winning the trophy this season, given the season we've had, would be massive. I think it'd be really huge. Can you imagine what it would mean for these signings, these new players coming in, and especially with Rodri apparently able to potentially return? Can you imagine what it would mean if they got a trophy, despite this being City's worst season in ages and all that kind of stuff? And I put it in inverted commas, but it's probably true. It is City's worst season in ages, in a decade. Can you imagine how much it would mean if we still won the FA Cup with these new players being a big part of it? You would presume Kusan would probably start at this point, You'd presume he would do. Marmoush, Nico Gonzalez, who knows what Vitor Reis is playing at that point. Can you imagine what it means to them? Savinho as well. To get a trophy at Wembley, the oldest domestic cup competition. It would be massive for City right now because it would give them that taste of winning success. And I'm a firm believer that success breeds success. If you can get these players, to enjoy winning together and then take it into Club World Cup, then take it into next season, to come through the season we've had and do a transition mid-season and start to build onto it while still getting Champions League football. Who knows? You might get second or third, who knows? Finish in the top 4 or 5 and also then win an FA Cup. If that's our bad season, man, exactly. Be better, more successful than Humble FC. Arteta's been dining off an FA Cup win for ages, and we'd just do it in our bad season. It'd be amazing, man. Savinho's already won at Wembley, yeah. I mean, okay, yeah, fair enough, yeah. But you know what I'm getting at. But I'm on about as a collective, as a team with these new lads. It's just more conviction. So, Savinho, obviously, it was a community shield as well. Let's be honest. It's not the same, is it? It's not the same. So, and if this is our curse season, we managed to do that. I think it'd be massive for Manchester City right now. So, that is where my head is at. First, so that's what I would talk about. Nico O'Reilly is a complete talent. I'm very excited for how far he could go at Manchester City Football Club. Vitor Reis, I am convinced this kid's going to be special. There's something in the air. It's him winning headers. That's what's in the air. De Bruyne has a role to play still. If he wants to stay, I'm more than happy because the talent is still there, even if it's hard to come around. There's been a clear change of guard. The young players are taking over, and finally the FA Cup would be huge. I'm going to end the video there. I'm going to hear my son crying downstairs. He's tired, getting ready for bed. The video's done anyway. Give the video a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll catch you tomorrow for another video. Bye-bye. Up the Blues.